Hello, and welcome back to another XpertVR Friday recap. To jump right into it, this week we're going to be talking about Cybersickness, Speaking with the Dead, and XpertFlugtag, and today's date is August 19th, 2022. So let's go to the first article here, looking at Iowa State University researching what causes cybersickness and how people adapt to cybersickness. So this is a very interesting research study where they used Jurassic World, a Jurassic Park VR game, to test people's response to the game and how it causes cybersickness. So they had participants go through this game 3 days in a row, hopefully playing up to 20 minutes, but being able to opt out at any time if they were feeling sick. And so in the study, they found that students or research participants going through the game, 50% of them opted out and didn't finish the full simulation on day one, but then found that they had a 20% increase in how long people could play the game by the third day of the research study. So I think this is very interesting because it's something that we've also found at XpertVR with students going through simulations, with our own simulations, as well as our team going through our own simulations and playing games. And we call it getting your VR legs. And basically, we found that, yes, you adapted very quickly to VR, but you can have that cybersickness right off the jump when you start out. So having some simulations that students can go through before they get into a training simulation can allow students to really get prepared for the actual learning experience so they're not distracted by cybersickness or distracted by anything else. So just great to see this research data coming out showing that cybersickness is something that people adapt to and learn about once they become comfortable with the VR environment. Secondly, more on the Web3 crypto blockchain side of things, wanted to mention this Surf the Metaverse in Style with the Carve board. So Carve is a company creating skateboards, snowboards, and now creating them in VR. So they partnered with Ready Player Me. So now you can buy a Carve meta board and have it as an accessory for your Ready Player Me character. So obviously this doesn't have any real applications in the academic space as this board, but I think it's very interesting to look at how this company is creating accessories that can be used across different metaverse platforms, as well as being able to tie these to real world objects. And so with this, I can see how in the not so distant future, publishing companies could publish a textbook. As a student, you go and buy that textbook at your bookstore at your campus, and then you're able to read it like you normally would, but also have access to maybe the electronic textbook just on the internet, on your computer, or in the metaverse, but as well have access to all of the training classes. So if you're a firefighter and you're buying a firefighter textbook, you get to chapter 3, that's all about how to put on your breathing apparatus and how to properly test for any defects. And maybe there's a simulation like the Skiba one that XpertVR has created, where you can then go and actually practice those skills that you learned through the textbook. And so having this like blockchain connection so that type of accessibility to information and to these simulations is available when you buy the textbook is just a really interesting way to have it connected so that it's not just a one-time thing you have access to it. You have access to it as long as you own the textbook, and then if you sell that textbook to somebody else, they can then get the NFT that comes with it to also get access to that information. Now looking at a project that I saw this week and thought was interesting, we have here the Holographic Conversation AI. So Startup Storyfile is a company founded here, and you can see the founder, and unfortunately his mother passed away. But before she passed away, he interviewed her for 2 days, asking all kinds of different questions, and with 6 different cameras set up around his mother as he was interviewing her. And this allowed him to then create a hologram that any guests at the funeral, and I'm assuming his kids and himself and others can, for a long time, maybe for generations, can come and talk to her. And through the 2 days of interviewing, having all of those questions, instead of just having the answers to those specific questions using AI, he was able to make it so there's over 225,000 combinations of answers that can be created and questions that can be asked. So very interesting how VR technology is allowing people to communicate with relatives that have passed away, but can see how this could be used to create a way to talk with experts that have possibly passed away in a field, or being able to speak with an expert that hasn't passed away and has just collected that information to have a conversation with, so that you have that expert always able to answer questions about the topic that you're learning about, as kind of a virtual professor when you're studying at midnight or something along those lines. And then lastly, always on the exciting note with XpertVR here, if you haven't heard, we've talked about in these Friday recaps a little bit, but we're starting to put out some more posts and start advertising a little bit more. XpertVR is entered in this year's Red Bull Flugtag event. So at Ontario Place, September 24th, we're going to be performing. You'll see me up there with Drew and others from our team, and we are going to be taking our hang glider design and running it off of this platform that you can see in the video, and we will be performing and hopefully winning this competition. So very excited to see where this goes, and excited to be performing with the XpertVR team and competing in this event. So please come out and support us. It's a free event at Ontario Place, and going to be a lot of fun, and you'll see a lot more content coming out on our social medias about everything that's going on and what we're up to at the event. So definitely pay attention to our social medias to check that out. So that was XpertVR's Friday recap for August 19th, 2022. Hopefully you have a great weekend, and looking forward to next Friday, where we fill you in with more VR and blockchain and future technology news that can help you as an academic succeed with your goals and learning outcomes.